Welcome to What is Truth? Brought to you by the Southern New Mexico Church of God in Las Cruces, New Mexico. What is Truth is a weekly program which seeks to focus our attention on the truth of God's Word. Now, with this week's lesson, here's Pastor Meyer Stahl.
Welcome to the program. Today's topic is, what is the gospel of the kingdom? Now, I travel around and sometimes I go to other groups and find out that their gospel is completely different than the gospel that Jesus Christ gave. The gospel of the kingdom means the good news of the kingdom. What is the good news of the kingdom? Well, that's my purpose today, to explain what the gospel of the kingdom is. So before we get started, I want to offer you two very important booklets. The first booklet is, What Do You Mean Salvation? And that booklet is very important. You know, your salvation is the most important thing in your life, what you will be doing for all eternity. And it says here at the bottom of the booklet, do you realize not one in 100 knows what it is, how to get it, when you receive it? Don't be too sure you do. Here, once and for all, is the truth made so plain you will really understand it. The second booklet is, Why Do You Observe Sunday? Most Christians observe Sunday, but they don't know why. They really don't. Sunday is not the Sabbath. It says here, the Bible teaches the observance of the Sabbath. The Sabbath is from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Which day did Christ and the apostles observe? Which day did Paul teach Gentile converts to observe? How did the day become changed from the seventh to the first day of the week? 1 Thessalonians 5:21 commands us to prove all things and says, hold fast that which is good. I ask you to please read this booklet with an open mind. If you are already right, honest investigation will but confirm it. If you are wrong, you should want to know it. These two booklets are absolutely free. We never ask the public for money. So please just call us up. You can also have a DVD of this program for free. We have nothing to sell on the program, and we do not ask the public for money. And some people don't believe that. They say, I don't want to call. I know he's going to ask me for money. Well, I won't. Positively. Promise. Scout's honor. Let's go to the Bible. If you don't have a Bible handy, get one. Bring it back to the TV set and turn to Matthew chapter 24. And in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus is sitting here on the Mount of Olives. And it says, well, actually, sitting at the temple at this spot in verse 1, and Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See you not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Wow, that was quite a prediction. If you were there, would you, camera please, if you were there, you would say, this is a crazy man. God would never allow his temple to be destroyed. Well, the first temple was destroyed in 585 BC, 585 years before Christ came along. And then the second temple was put up, but people by then would forget. They'd say, it's impossible. God would never allow his temple to be destroyed. But yet it was destroyed in 70 AD when General Titus came with Roman legions and he destroyed the temple. He burned it down to the ground. There wasn't one stone upon another when he left. Let's go now back to the Bible. By this time, he's at the Mount of Olives. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of your coming? Coming for what? Coming to rule. And of the end of the world. This word world is the Greek word aeon, which means age. So what would be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Right from the start. Number one, he says, watch out for deceptions. There's a lot of deceptions around today. People are deceiving other people. Have you ever been deceived? Well, a deceived person doesn't know they're being deceived, because if they knew they were being deceived, they wouldn't be deceived, would they? For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. There's two ways that could be read. They're coming, many shall come in his name, saying that Jesus is the Christ, and shall deceive many. And many shall come in their name, saying that they are the Christ, and shall deceive many. Well, that both ways have been done through the ages. People have deceived. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Now this word rumor, back in King James day, there wasn't TV, radio, newspapers, and a rumor was a rumor. You wouldn't know if it was true until several different people came through the city saying that there is a war, and then you would know. Well, the same word today means reports. That word, Greek word, means reports. And reporters report wars. And we hear of reporters reporting wars every day. So let's go back to the Bible. And we're talking about intensity of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation. So there's going to be war from one nation to another. And we have seen that down through history. And kingdom against kingdom. What does that mean? What does kingdom against kingdom mean? Well, there are many groups against other groups. So we find one group of nations is called the kingdom. They fight against another group of nations, and that's a kingdom. And there have been World War I with 8.2 million dead, World War II with 52 million dead, 7 times more. And World War III is predicted to be 1/3 of all mankind. Over 2 billion, that's spelt with a B, not million, but 2 billion people dying in World War III. Let's go back to the Bible. Jesus states that. Well, we're going to read it because he's going to state it for us. And there shall be famines, and there's famines today. There's a famine in South America, and several countries around South America, there's just not enough to eat. Venezuela, people are just dying of hunger. And pestilences, that's all kinds of diseases. It's funny, we have so many hospitals, so many doctors today, and so many diseases, you would think that they would have it under control. And earthquakes in diverse places. We're going to stop here for a moment. Earthquakes. If you look at each decade since the year 1900, so from 1901 to 1910, from 1911 to 1920, from 1921 to 1930, each 10-year period, each decade had between 50 and 60 earthquakes with on the Richter scale of 6 on the Richter scale. And now this last decade has been something like 425 from the year 2001 to the year 2010. There have been 425 earthquakes on the Richter scale of about 6. So the intensity is growing greater and greater and greater. So each year we get more and more earthquakes, more and more wars, more and more diseases, more and more famines and pestilences. And we're going to stop here very soon. In fact, we're going to stop here now. Please don't go away. I want to explain to you the gospel of the kingdom. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Burke, and I have a confession to make. I have a serious crush on my workout. Hip, fun, and always a challenge. Jazzercise is the total package. It's the only workout that I've ever truly loved. Does it show? That's because I'm in the best shape of my life. What a difference Jazzercise makes. When's the last time your workout swept you off your feet? Find a class near you at jazzercise.com.
Attention homeowners, apartment complexes and business parks and homeowners associations. Now is the best time to make your property beautiful again. Since 1967, Gonzalez Landscaping has offered beautiful professional landscaping services to all of southern New Mexico. Our team has been designing and installing landscapes for over 47 years. Where quality is an obsession, Gonzalez Landscaping is locally owned and operated. We are licensed commercial, residential specialists dedicated to providing reliable and quality service. We offer residential and commercial landscaping design, full lawn, tree and shrub care, with annuals and perennials, tree and palm trimming, spring and fall cleanups, mulching and more. Let us do the work at prices you can afford. We service all of Las Cruces. We are New Mexico's premier commercial landscaping and residential landscaping company. Visit us online at gonzalesnursery.com or call us for a free estimate. 575-382-7272.
Welcome back to the program. In case you tuned in late, we're talking about what is the gospel of the kingdom. And I visit various churches from time to time, and it seems like they all have a different point of view on what the gospel of the kingdom is. Now, most of them will tell you the gospel of the kingdom is you go to heaven. It seems like they all have that in common. Most of the churches have that in common. You die, you go to heaven, or Christ comes back, he takes you back to heaven. That's what they understand. Most of them understand to be the gospel of the kingdom. Let's look here at Matthew chapter 24. And we're looking here at verse 13. We're back at verse 13. And it says here, but he who shall endure unto the end, you have to endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness, not to convert everybody. It's going to be for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Now we'll stop there for a moment, and I'll explain the gospel of the kingdom. Gospel means good news. Whatever it is, it's good news. And a kingdom, or any kingdom, must have four parts. A kingdom must have four parts. What are the four parts? Would you agree with me that a kingdom must have a king? Would you agree with me? Yes. Jesus Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The second thing a kingdom must have, it must have subjects. The king rules over subjects. The third thing a kingdom must have, it must have a territory. King of France, King of Spain, King of England, King of some territory or nation. And the fourth thing is, I always hesitate, give people a chance to come up with the answer. I'll give you a hint. A kingdom is a form of government. What must every form of government, including a kingdom, have? It must have a set of laws. The king rules by laws. Right? So those are the four things. Let's go back to the book of Isaiah, and we're looking here at Isaiah chapter 2. Isaiah chapter 2, and we'll start in verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days, these are the last days that are just ahead of us, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. Now, that's symbolism that's explained for us as we go along. And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations, notice that, all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come you, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion, this is Mount Zion, shall go forth the law. This word law is the word Torah. So the Torah is the law that we find in the first 5 books of Moses. The entire law. Jesus said in Matthew 5:17, Think not, I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So he's going to be ruling from the nation of Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. These are implements of agriculture. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. The war colleges are going to shut down. The Army, Navy, Marines are going to disband, and people are going to go home in peace. There's going to be peace on this earth because the Prince of Peace is coming. Let's read it in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. For unto us a child is born. Sound familiar? It's said around Christmas time, but it's true all the time. Unto us a son is given, and the government, what form of government? The kingdom form of government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. See, he's the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. So it's going to cover the entire world. Upon the throne of David, he's going to sit upon David's throne, and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Let's go now to Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah chapter 11, and we'll look here in verse 1. Here we are. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And it says here, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, and the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor. The poor don't stand a chance today in the courts. You have to be able to hire expensive lawyers, but he's going to judge the poor with righteousness and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. The meek of the earth are going to inherit the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Okay, we're going to turn now back to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24, we're going to look one more time at verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Now this is going to be 1,000 years to start out with, that he's going to rule the earth. Now for those people who think they're going to heaven, what are they going to do up in heaven? Nobody's going to be up there. Everybody's going to be down here on the earth. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 20. The book of Revelation chapter 20, the last book of the Bible. And we're looking at verse 1. And I saw, here we are, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So I saw thrones, and they sat upon them. Who is they? These are Christians. And judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. That's the gospel of the kingdom. We understand we're going to rule with Jesus Christ for 1,000 years to start off right here on this earth. That, my friends, is the gospel of the kingdom. Why don't you send away for these two very important booklets? What do you mean salvation? And why do you observe Sunday? The phone number's on the screen, and we'll be glad to send them out to you free. We do have an interactive Bible study Saturday, 1 o'clock. Come join us at 1701 East Missouri. Now, until next time, this is Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God saying goodbye, my friends.
You have been listening to What is Truth with Pastor Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. For copies of today's lesson or for more information, call area code 575-650-7359. That's 575-650-7359. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of What is Truth? Until next week, we wish you God's richest blessings.